As you can see, people are very emotional. This is a very tough scene right here. Now, police say they don't have any suspect. Clearly very chaotic. You can see police have confirmed what we saw. That woman that you saw walking up to the scene started arguing with another. They say one of these women opened fire, killing another. Police then say they shot the woman shooting. She was taken to the hospital, and we are unsure of her injuries at this point. All that time, you could see the video was actually being shot from the back of our live truck. Photographer James Thomas and I jumped inside that truck as quickly as we could to try and take cover. Heard at least 10 shots ringing out.
The first thing you notice when you pull into Henryville, right here at the main intersection of 160 and 31, is Henryville High School. The school's literally shaved right down to the ground by the twister. And look at all the cars in the foreground. Some flipped, all smashed out, windows smashed out, not just by the twister, but also by the hailstones, as big as baseballs. People are running around right now sobbing, looking for loved ones, even though we have heard that they have everyone accounted for. But you can't convince a lot of people of that because there's still, I just talked to a man who's looking for a 13-year-old. He was sobbing, he was angry. Okay, follow me. You see more vehicles flipped over right here by Henryville High School. But the picture of the day here in Henryville is right here to the right. A school bus, not just tossed across the road, shoved right into the middle of that home right there. School bus backed right into it. And in the foreground, just behind that red truck, a school bus flipped over, as well as right here to our left. Now, insulation is littering the trees. And if you look off to the right now, you'll see, as far as the eye can see, trees shaved right off. That's because this is pretty much ground zero of where this tornado hit. The people we've spoken with who saw it actually roll in say it came in and touched down just beyond the high school, to that side of the high school, swept right across the street here and went right on as far as you can see, clipping off all these homes, collapsing this church over here to the right, and knocking down everything. Police right now are going door to door on these homes. They say they still have people trapped inside, and they tell people to go to St. Francis Church. That's where they've set up the triage center.
We are following breaking news right now. Air 3 high above the scene of a police chase. You can't see it right there, but in that area, back in those backyards, there's a police chase on Zorn Avenue at River Road. It looks like it's going through some housing areas right now. That car running from police.
Now you can see that the man has a lawnmower on the back of that truck or trailer, and he's actually running from police. All of this started in Clarksville. It was a traffic stop. We do not know why it began. You see him trying to run from police with that lawnmower on the back.
We don't see the police cruisers right back there, but they are behind him, and this man was running from Clarksville
police. He is running into the water. He is now in the water, I guess trying to run or swim, not the safest or the smartest thing to do. Again, we have not seen the police yet, and he's trying to get away. This is not the safest thing for this man to do.
LMPD probably does not have its helicopter up in the air at this point because it takes them a second to launch and get up in the air. So this is the best view for police now, is to watch these news helicopters and our view from Air 3.
Police do have a visual, Scott. They've
spotted him there, and they know now at least where he is. And it looks like
guns are drawn with some of them.
Yeah, so they're now clearly trying to talk him into swimming out of that area so they can actually take him into custody. So now they've got him out of the river and taking him into custody. Again, much more information to come out in the coming days about why this gentleman ran and decided that this was his best option. It looks like he's really tired now after being in the water for that long.
We're told that 3 workers were on the ground, possibly using some type of device that could have ignited nearby chemicals. We do know that hydrogen fluoride as well as butadiene is down there, as well as other chemicals, highly flammable. We're not sure which chemical was ignited at the time.
We have been bringing you breaking news coverage all afternoon long following an explosion at the scene of that train derailment near West Point, Kentucky.
Several workers are injured, and now we have evacuations of schools and homes in the area.
Tonight we have live team coverage, and we want to begin with Wave 3's Scott Reynolds, who is live from the new command center now in PRP. Scott, what's going on out there?
Well, Janelle and Dawn, you know, tragedy was avoided on Monday when those cars left the tracks just a couple miles south of us here off Dixie Highway near Catherine Station Road. No fire, no explosion, no injuries. But that all changed today when workers trying to separate a couple of those derailed cars with a torch ignited some butadiene, injuring 5, one of them apparently critically.
Morning continues here in Pekin, Indiana, Washington County, after a deadly tornado levels this mobile home park. A father whose daughter and children were killed, and that twister opens up about his loss.
I'm still trying to get out of that field.
Camouflaged by twisted metal and broken wood, a baby monitor rests near the wreckage of homes that housed a young family taken by the March 2nd tornado.
I've never been through nothing like this. It's horrible.
Jack Bruff knew there was a storm that fateful Friday. When it passed, he made a quick trip to Pekin to run some errands.
We was going to pay the water bill, and they told us there that there'd been some people hurt at Worley Lumber Company. So that made me think of my daughter and her kids.
As Bruff approached the mobile home park, it hit him.
And as we got closer, I thought, oh my God, oh my God.
His 20-year-old daughter, Mariah, wasn't there.
We got out and we just started calling her name. We was walking through mud and water. It was really horrible.
Mariah, her longtime boyfriend, 21-year-old Joe Babcock, and their children did not make it.
Little boy was laying on the ground. They was trying to bring him back to life.
2-year-old Jaden and 2-month-old Kendall were also dead.
We walked out towards the road, and then they was bringing the other little baby up from way up the road.
Emergency responders airlifted 14-month-old Angel to Cozair Children's Hospital in Louisville. It was up to him to keep her here or let her go.
If I do get to see her, my pastor's going to go in with me, and we're going to pray. We're going to pray there, and I'm going to tell that little girl that it's time for her to meet her mommy and daddy.
Sheets of metal now scattered for acres. What was once a mobile home park filled with life, now the scars of a deadly storm. In Pekin, Indiana, Scott Adkins.
My husband suggested, why don't you just go pick him up from school early and go on home. That way you get in the basement, you're fine, you're safe, you know, you'll be fine. Wind, like I'd never seen wind before. And then the glass broke. And then as soon as the glass broke, the house started shifting. And he is crying and he is screaming. He's 8. So, and Reese is 5. I took a blanket and I pulled it over my children and I tied it in a knot. I tied, so they were in this blanket tied in a knot. And everything started hitting my back, beams, pillars, furniture, everything was just slamming into my back. But I had my children in the blanket and I was on top of them and I was reaching around holding them and they are screaming, "Mommy, I can't live without you. I don't want to die. Please don't let me die." And I said, "You're not going to die. We're going to make it." I now understand why people call it a train. I heard the sound of a train and I heard the roar of that train coming through. When I looked down and looked at my leg and realized either it was cut off or it was barely attached, I took my phone and I made a video to my husband. Telling him I love him. And my children that I love them in case something were to happen. I prayed. I prayed to have the strength to survive, that I wanted these kids to have a mom, and that I did not want them to grow up without me. And then all of a sudden, I hear a voice, and it was saying hello, I think. And I said, hello, I was screaming, hello. He came down and I looked at him, I said, I'm dying. You gotta save me. And he said, I'm going to.
There's a little bit of relief right here.
Bedridden from broken bones. It hurts just to breathe and sometimes think.
There's a part of me that, you know, they're all gone.
It's only been a few days since Jason Miller's life spiraled out of control.
And as soon as that house got ripped up, I immediately blacked out. But I do specifically remember opening my eyes up there and looking down and thinking, I'm 50 feet up. I'm in the middle of a tornado.
Miller does remember turning to his neighbors outside.
I said, look, what does that look like? Doesn't it look like a funnel cloud? And he looked over and his girlfriend just freaked out. She grabbed her kid and ran back in the house. I said, get out of there, get over to my house.
It was 21-year-old Joe Babcock and 20-year-old Moriah Bruff.
She had the little baby girl in her little car seat. And I said, go to the house, just go. And she ran straight to the house. She was terrified.
Miller took the couple to the center of his home, the safest place you could think of in a split second, his hallway.
Trying to get everybody as close together as I could. And I just started praying, and I hadn't even, it just happened. That first hit, I felt it. And at that moment, the fear hit me like in my heart. I just ran over there and fell down. I was telling somebody earlier, I think not on top of, but like had almost laying halfway on top of Angel. And then the girl had the car seat, and he was holding his boy and leaning up against the wall. And I was like, Joe, get down, get down. And he laid flat on the ground. We kind of all said, put your arms in. I didn't tell everybody to hold hands.
Only Miller would survive. The couple was killed, as was 2-year-old Jaden and 2-month-old Kendall. 15-month-old baby Angel, found in a nearby field crying, suffered serious brain injuries. Family ended life support Sunday. The family of 5, all dead. First responders found Miller alive near Sawmill.
Very clear that there's a purpose that I'm still here.
Yeah, Janelle Scott, what we usually see on the news is the aftermath of the crime. But what's happening out there before the shots are fired, before the body is covered on the sidewalk? Tonight, I can show you what's really going on every day out in the open in one of Louisville's most dangerous neighborhoods. When Louisville's West End looks like the Wild West. When kids get caught in the crossfire too, a 4-year-old, a 15-year-old, another 15-year-old at a birthday party, 3 victims in 3 days. There's more blame flying around these days than bullets.
The problem is with leadership. The hope of a good job and career. Gun laws are very, very weak.
We don't have relationships.
The problem is the parents.
The problem, according to my sources, is simple. It's not new, but it's hard to document. The people who live here don't want to talk about it because they don't want to get shot. They say the problem is drug dealing in places like this, the Beecher Terrace public housing complex. I spend 2 weeks undercover parked in the community center parking lot, recording what's really going on with a hidden camera. No one knows I'm here, not even police. The first thing I notice on the corner of 12th and Cedar is a lot of cash on display, fistfuls of it. That's because there are a lot of transactions going on here, like this, what appears to be crack rocks doled out and stuffed in pockets. 1 minute later, a few feet away, he pays for the purchase. Every day, as early as 11 a.m., they stand right out along the street in plain view, passing around and inspecting what appears to be packaged drugs wrapped in clear plastic baggies. They don't always make a sale. Sometimes the shoppers take a good whiff or a closer look and pass on the purchase. But business appears to be booming. Sellers count cash, work the phones, and inventory their goods in tied-off plastic bags. Some are more careful, storing the wrapped goods in their mouth in case cops come and spitting them out when it's time to serve up customers. On May 23rd at 6 p.m., I finished recording a day of transactions on the corner of 12th and Cedar. 4 hours later,
they found a black male outside of an apartment.
Metro Police respond to a homicide in Beecher Terrace. A man shot to death at the corner of 12th and Cedar. The next day, the neighborhood is packed with police and media crews reporting the murder. As soon as they clear out, the dealers come back out. Undaunted by cops, a corpse, and the press corps, they're even more brazen. This guy sits out on his porch with a baggie filled with what looks like white crack rocks, doling them out to customers, and then doling out a handgun to one of the people who was watching the transactions. That's right, that's a handgun. Remember, it's all going on right next to a community center, a playground, and kids. It's happening a few feet from the Stop the Killing signs activist Chris 2X has posted. 'd. In fact, I record him walking right through the drug activity. 'd. 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 ' and then show him what's going on here.
The best way that I can relate to this issue, as far as what you documented, is I'm disappointed. This isn't helpful. I feel that what this report will reveal, hopefully, is an urgency for us to do our own internal cleansing. Because again, I don't believe law enforcement is going to be the save-all solution to try to get us out of this problematic situation.
Sometimes law enforcement passes by every 15 minutes. Sometimes it's 2 hours in between passing patrol cars. Officers also get out, knock on doors, and question residents. But the people here flash signs, motioning to buyers and sellers when police officers approach. I can always tell when a cop is coming because the crowds break up and flee fast. And after officers leave the area, drug activity fires back up. People using, people selling, right out on the porches and sidewalks, pulling crack pipes out of shirts, cleaning and packing pipes and blunts out in the open. So why don't any of the people who live here and see this every day call police?
They numb to it. They just dismiss it because they don't want to be involved in it.
Lavelle White lived in Beecher Terrace. He just graduated from college and just got appointed by the mayor to a group that's tackling the violence problem.
I know my day might be numbered, but you live in, so it's like your environment, you're used to it. So you kind of like, it's like you living in a war zone or something, but you don't know really the war is going on.
Now, still no arrest in the homicide that happened on the corner where I was recording. Assistant Police Chief Kenton Buckner came here and looked at our video. He says it's frustrating. Many of those people have long criminal histories. They keep getting released from jail, and they can't arrest their way out of this problem.
In the middle of a Kmart parking lot,
You're awesome, thank you.
a beautifully wrapped box, complete with a homemade card signed by total strangers. Little by little, the gift kept getting bigger.
I put $10, $5 for me and $5 for my dad's family.
With so many families scraping by during the holidays, Brian Bailey of PRP started connecting with friends on Facebook.
I had an idea that maybe let's see how far we can go with $5.
One friend told another, and so on.
And I thought, wow, if we can get enough people together to put $5 in the box, we can make someone's Christmas.
First 5, then 10, 100, and it kept coming. A random act of kindness was about to turn into a random act of Christmas.
Right now, we're getting ready to make someone's day. They have no idea what's about to happen to them.
Nervously,
Here we go, man. I am just,
Brian searched for the perfect Kmart shoppers, hoping he would get a feeling about a family. He did.
Guys, you're here tonight to spend money, right?
Yeah. Well, we were looking to see what we can get for cheap.
Okay. Well, do me a favor.
Somehow he convinced the Bruce family if they come outside, they won't be sorry.
I'm Raymond Bruce. This is my wife.
Samuelia Bruce.
This is my daughter Riley, and my other daughter Ryan ain't here with us right now. And this is a kid that I work with. His name's Chandler.
The kind strangers would soon find out Raymond had taken a second job working with special needs children to put gifts under the tree for his girls.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, if y'all only knew how much this really meant to us.
I think we have a general idea.
Woo! I mean, this don't feel real. You never see this.
They're counting.
It's 200, it's 300.
More than $500 and not a dry eye in the parking lot.
I just want to say thank you because they didn't have to do it. And we need more people in the world like that.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yay!
Woo!
It was a question that could have Christopher Scheitlen feeling the heat. Did you violate the terms of your probation?
It's a wonderful day out. At least it's not snowing.
And all he wanted to talk about was the weather.
Matter of fact, I got to put my glasses on. It's so nice out.
And football. Why are you trying to change the subject?
I'll say it's my team.
Ignoring his mounting legal problems, just like Louisville Metro government did. It all started at a U of L football game in 2010 when Shaitlin, the owner of Professional Link Security, was arrested in full uniform for impersonating a police officer so he could watch the game from the sidelines. It was the second time that year Shaitlin was charged with pretending to be a cop.
Commonwealth versus Christopher Shaitlin.
In May, Shaitlin pled guilty. The judge gave him 2 years probation and one clear condition: to stay out of jail.
And his condition was that the defendant not be allowed to work in law enforcement or as a security guard.
He understands he cannot be a security guard or a police officer.
No, 17 days later, there he was. Earpiece in, dozens at his command, some in Professional Link uniforms, others off-duty Louisville Metro police officers. Shaitlin's team responsible to keep out weapons and drugs and keep control.
Y'all so wild in Louisville.
As more than 10,000 people partied at Louisville Metro's Waterfront Park during the Soul Food Festival June 2nd.
First we'll show and tell.
So who would let a convicted felon run security on city property against a judge's orders? Louisville Metro government.
And I'm trying to find out why.
Yeah. I wish I could give you an answer, Eric, but I can't.
We showed Codes and Regulations Director Jim Mims Shaitlin's criminal history. Impersonating a police officer was just the beginning. Court records reveal Shaitlin was convicted of domestic violence in February, then charged with felony forgery days later for falsifying government documents to win a Louisville Metro security contract. Even Mims' own department filed criminal charges against Shaitlin twice after they caught him allegedly working security with a gun without an armed security license. Mims said his staff never should have let a guy with a record like that run security on city property. But Louisville Metro government failed to do its own detective work.
Whose job is it to fact check all this stuff?
Well, some of it clearly falls in our area.
If you are watching right now on your couch and you've been wanting to do something, we're trying to make it as easy as we possibly can. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call 571-3333. The monies that we are collecting right now go directly to those victims here in our own backyard. $251,062. It took me 227 attempts, but I got through. When I got through, I doubled the money I was given.
Absolutely. Very, very heartwarming. We're going to be here until the phones stop ringing. We're scheduled to wind down at 8 o'clock. I have a feeling it's going to go past that. Midnight we'll probably be here. May even be here again tomorrow.
We would love to get to $400,000. We're not trying to be greedy, but we're just setting a goal up there. 571-3333, 708-2688. And this is where we are. $390,845,000.
Huge thank yous to our Wave 3 viewers. We asked you to call in. You did. You helped us raise more than $431,000. That is incredible. Now, that phone bank may be over. We still want you to help those affected by Friday's deadly storms in Indiana and Kentucky. You can donate these items to the Wave 3 Collects through Friday.
Scott, Janelle, if you've driven up and down I-65 in southern Indiana lately, you've seen it. A sudden proliferation of people up on these interstate exit ramps asking for money not far from disaster recovery centers. Our viewers asked me, what's going on? What's the real story? Tonight, I have some answers. They lost lives, homes, and jobs. The people of Clark County met misery March 2nd when this tornado roared through southern Indiana. Trucks filled with donations, rooms filled with volunteers, and at the same time, we noticed southern Indiana exit ramps along I-65 suddenly and consistently filled with men and women holding signs asking for help, claiming to be homeless or hungry or jobless. Many of them standing just 50 yards from one of the disaster recovery centers set up for tornado victims. But they don't know we're watching and following and discovering they're not disaster victims, not homeless, and many are not even living in this state. On a couple of occasions, we watched this guy suit up in a parking lot a block away from the interstate, putting on a huge backpack, trudging over to the Veterans Parkway exit, and collecting money with a sign that says, "Veteran, need work." On March 21st, police tell him he's breaking the law. He acts like he's leaving, but he just hides around the corner. 15 minutes later, he's collecting in the same spot. When a cop chases him off a second time, we follow him to Walmart, then the bus stop, where he embarks on a long trip crossing the Ohio River into Kentucky, transferring buses in Louisville, and eventually getting off on Fern Valley Road in the south end of Jefferson County, a nearly 2-hour, 25-mile trip each way to collect money at a southern Indiana exit ramp. Same thing with this guy the next day, with a cane, knee brace, limping and collecting, and a sign that says, "I need help." He too hops on the same TARC bus route, crossing into Kentucky, transferring buses 2 more times, moving fine now in Louisville, stopping at the grocery store, and then returning to his apartment.
Hi, I'm John Bull with Wave 3 News. I'm doing a story on the people who stand out by the roadways and collect money. And I was wondering...
He says he was collecting money because of a food stamp mix-up last month.
Well, you took 2 buses to get over there. Why did you go so far away?
Why?
Yeah.
Because the people over in Indiana are nicer.
They're nicer? Do you think that could be because you were up there in an area where people lost everything to the tornado?
They could have a little bit of something to do it, but
On April 2nd, a man with his arm wrapped in a bandage is working this southern Indiana exit ramp with a sign that says, "Veteran, anything will help." A profitable day. He counts his cash, eats some ice cream with his bad arm, and hops the same TARC bus route back to Louisville. He tries to hide his sign when I walk up. Your sign says you're a veteran?
Yeah, I don't want to be on the news. You want to see my ID?
Sure.
I want to be on the news, dude.
Why are you going to hop a bus? Why'd you take a bus to get over here?
Ain't no business. Get out of here.
Most don't take the bus. They get dropped off near the exit ramps, collect cash, and then get picked up nearby, like this guy. And this one, despite getting chased away several times by police, he hides around the corner, counts his growing wad of cash, and keeps going back until a green pickup pulls up to whisk him away. What do they spend the hardship donations on? We watch this woman change into her homeless outfit under an overpass, pull out her sign, and within 2 minutes, she's snatching cash. We then follow her straight to the liquor store where she buys a bottle of booze. I'm doing a story on the people that stand by the roads and collect money.
I'd rather not talk to you.
Well, I noticed you just bought some booze. Could I see what your sign says? Some are crafty. This woman rubs her pregnant stomach in the heat with a sign that says hungry. The cash flow stops when police step in, but they let her off the hook, and someone even brings her food. After they all leave the scene, her boyfriend steps out of his hiding place.
But usually they will write me tickets on it sometimes. Depends on the ordinance here.
Collecting cash in the disaster zone is so popular, these people drove their RV here from Alabama. Where are the best places to ask for money? Like this.
Oh, Lord.
There's really not
Any exit?
Any exit?
Any exit.
A few minutes, and how much money did you get?
Only about 30 minutes, and that's 20, 25, to 60, 70, 80, 9, 30.
He counts $41 in 30 minutes of fundraising. He says they make hundreds of dollars per day. Look at your situation and say it's a little bit deceptive. You know, you guys have an RV. You know, you're doing all right. There are real homeless people in this area. What do you say to that?
When we see homeless people, we help them out. Every time we see a homeless guy, it don't matter.
You give them this money right here?
I will give them all that money right there.
You said that this DNS auto glass salesman Brandon Carter.
Hold on, what's up with this camera and everything?
Well, we're doing a report on.
Well, what if I don't want to do a report on it?
Didn't see us coming.
Man, y'all ain't gonna come up here and be doing all this. Y'all can't be doing that.
Well, we can when we have some questions that we need answered.
We wanted to know why he was on our hidden camera, trying to bill our insurance company for a new windshield we didn't need.
That's right in your line of vision, too. You can feel that there and feel it's actually like a little chip in your windshield.
After Carter found a chip smaller than a pencil head in our windshield, he said he could show us how to get our insurance company to replace it and that it wouldn't cost us a dime. Because in Kentucky, drivers with full comprehensive coverage can't be charged a deductible to replace a windshield because of cracks or chips that obstruct the driver's view. Carter said all we had to do was give him our insurance information, and he would file the claim and handle the installation.
That we can come out wherever you work, live, wherever within the next couple of days and replace it at your house, wherever. Great, so I don't pay anything. No. And then the insurance company pays for it, yes, and I get a new windshield out of it. Yes, sir. Oh, man, that sounds like a good deal. Yeah, it is a really good deal.
That's big bucks for the company, right?
Major bucks for the company.
This windshield installer, who asked to remain anonymous, came to the Wave 3 troubleshooter department to blow the whistle on his former employer after he quit working for DNS because of a dispute over a paycheck. The installer, who we'll call Bob, told us he watched DNS salesmen file hundreds of insurance claims over an 8-month period for windshields that didn't need to be replaced.
It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with the windshield.
Nothing wrong with the windshield.
I mean, there's no cracks, there's no even chips.
There's no nothing.
He kept dozens of examples, along with the installation bills DNS charged to insurance, to prove it. Bob says this is a back glass he replaced for DNS. They told the insurance company it was broken. It's not.
The salespeople leave out every day. They comb neighborhoods, Super Americas. For a while, they was set up in Jefferson Mall.
And we found DNS isn't just set up here. Records uncovered by the Wave 3 troubleshooter department reveal the same guy who opened DNS Auto Glass in Louisville, Jeff Searles, is also operating DNS offices in Florida and South Carolina, 2 other states with zero deductible laws for windshield replacement, and 2 of the leading states with questionable auto glass claims, according to the National Insurance Crime Bureau. Also near the top of that list, Arizona, where Jeff Searles and DNS is headquartered. Multiple messages left for Searles at his corporate office were not returned.
26th and Portland Avenue. We got a warm welcome and a hug as we prepared to pass the cash. Jeanette Alcorn braved the cold to share the story and the heartache of her friend Jenny Winburn.
I have a little girl that lives next door to me. She's 20. She was working at a bakery, and she was pregnant. Well, now she's lost her job. She just had her baby on January the 5th. She has nothing. She don't have a bassinet. All she has is a futon and a TV in her apartment.
20 years old, single mom, no car, no job, no money, and nothing for her newborn.
It breaks my heart because I don't even know how she's going to pay her rent on the 1st.
Now it was time for us to deliver. 100. 2.
3. Thank you so much. You just don't know what this means to me.
With no car, no job, and a newborn, Jeanette knew we'd find Jenny at home. She also knew Jenny needed peace of mind as much as she needed the money.
I want you to take this and buy the baby what the baby needs. Take and put on your rent if you need to put it on your rent. And I'm passing the cash to you, okay? There's 100, 200, 300. Thank you. You're welcome, baby.
Mom Jenny introduces us to Chase Allen Lee Winburn. She's a proud mama, but with no family or friends to lean on. She is a very frightened and troubled young lady, too.
It's really hard because I don't have no one to depend on. So, I mean, it's pretty rough when the baby doesn't have somebody else but you.
But being alone is not Jenny's biggest fear.
And sometimes I think about him not eating and stuff, and it really hurts my feelings and breaks my heart.
She is looking for a new job, and for the first time in her life, she must look for government or faith-based assistance.
I feel so bad. I feel like I shouldn't have had him because I don't have the money to take care of myself, and I'm taking to have a baby now.
The old African proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child. A few members of the tribe were happy to help out on this day.
Thank you.
All right. Billy.
Thank you so much.
The Ironman Triathlon World Championship is this weekend in Hawaii. Many of the participants qualified for it with their finish in Ironman Louisville recently. While I didn't qualify, I was the first person ever given permission to wear a camera through the Ironman, and it shows you why they call it the most difficult one-day endurance test in the world. Surprising how much ground you can cover in one day, sunrise to sunset. 50 times a minute, 5,000 strokes in all. The worst part about swimming in the Ironman triathlon is being alone in a watery world without iPods. Until the other 3,000 athletes literally get in your face. A giant school of piranha churning up the surface. They don't bite, but they kick, and they punch, in the head, shoulder to shoulder, yet no one swims the same speed. So I'm constantly stopping after running up on top of others, while others crash into me. Some blow by me like Michael Phelps. Some are floundering, panicking. They want to call timeout, but there's no place to sit in the Ohio River. No matter how wide I go, it never thins out, over 2.5 miles. They're so close, I can count the cavities in the nearest gasping mouth. It's not much different
on your right
when we all start pedaling.
I'm okay.
Instead of paddling.
Okay, now this is where it starts to get really intense. 3 and 4 wide cyclists going each way on a tight road.
Bikes have no bumpers, no airbags, yet cyclists are fanned all the way out to the yellow line, inches away from bikes flying the other way at 45 miles an hour.
Here's one bike X right here.
No one slows, passing crashes in the ditch. No one knows about a sabotaged course.
Somebody dumped a bunch of tacks all over the course right here. And there are dozens and dozens of people with flats.
From dodging tacks to comical attacks by costumed spectators rubbing our faces in the misery of steep climbs.
The devil. What's up, devil? How you doing, baby? Yeah. The Grim Reaper, what's up, man? How you doing? Superman. Yeah, I'm looking good. Yeah!
The rest of the crowd is more conventional.
This is the big stop. They try to make this like one of the little villages in the Tour de France. A little motivational music.
But music doesn't fuel muscles.
One more water, sir. Water. Thank you.
Keep it up, keep it up.
No pit stops in triathlon, just rolling buffet lines called aid stations every 10 miles because I'll burn 8,000 calories today.
Bananas, water, gel. Bingo.
Biggest disappointment to me today is I shaved my whole body because they told me to make me faster. All the way to my legs, shoulders, arms, everything. And it did not make me faster. It made me slower in the bike, slower in the swim as well.
Mile 100. The second most important gratifying placard on the route in Ironman 2012. Only 12 miles from the finish now in the bike, and it's all downhill.
But it's not downhill. Getting off the bike after 6 hours of riding is a staggering achievement. Changing clothes in the sweltering transition tent is a chore.
I need water.
Now, start a marathon at 3 in the afternoon after 8 hours of swimming and biking. Stir in 92 humid degrees, and it's time for a meltdown.
I've got a bad feeling. This is the worst part. This is where you come all the way to the finish line, and they make you turn right and do 13 more miles.
And the final 13 miles are enough to make you sick. I take turns on all fours, painting the sidewalk, watering the grass, while EMS units hover like vultures and casualties pile up around me. Walking, running.
Let's go, Johnny!
Stumbling past other fallen victims, there is a light at the end of this terrible tunnel.
This is what it's all about, baby! 140 miles!
I started the day in the best shape of my life. I'm ending the day in the worst shape of my life. And suddenly, I've never felt better. Run toward the light, and it'll be over. But for the first time today, I don't want it to be over.
James Dixon from San Diego. John Cole.
For all this pain, we get a medal. It's not gold or silver or bronze.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
It's better.
Working for you. This is Wave 3 News at 6.
Right now at 6, extreme violence in Louisville leaves 3 people dead and 3 people hurt. The tense moments caught on camera by our crew in the field, and that story continues to unfold. Police are investigating 2 scenes in West Louisville one on 32nd Street, the other on Elliott Street. We have live team coverage. Our Scott Reynolds and the team have been in the middle of all that chaos. And Scott, what are the crews telling you tonight?
Well, police here are still working, Janelle. We expect that these investigators will be on the scene probably throughout the night. They'll stay here because the tensions are still high in this neighborhood. The crowds of people, though, who live in this area, they have gone back home. It's dinner time. No doubt the topic of conversation, what happened at 1 o'clock when gunfire erupted at a home near 32nd in Kentucky. We know that there were 3 people killed. One man found dead on the porch, one found dead on the sidewalk, and another one seriously wounded. Another one drove away wounded. And then, of course, that third fatality happened about 90 minutes later when 2 women got into an argument. One of them killed. Our Jamie Weiss, you were right there where that gunfire erupted.
Yeah, we unfortunately parked in the wrong spot, not knowing what would happen. We got here really not long after that first shooting at 1 o'clock. We were working to gather information, and we noticed how on edge people were. People were arguing, yelling at each other when we pulled up. Officers were trying to split them up. We didn't realize how high the tensions were until we got caught in the middle of the gunfire.
It started as an upset woman who family says saw the body of her loved one dead on the ground. Over to 26th and Elliott, where we saw her while we were live on the air. The next thing we know, there was arguing and shots fired. Photographer James Thomas and I took cover in the back of our live truck and watched, like everyone else who was taking cover on the ground. We now know, according to police, one of the women involved in that argument shot and killed the one she was fighting with. Police say they then shot the shooter, who was taken to the hospital.
In the middle of that, as police saw us rolling, they asked us to get out of the way. They knew how dangerous it was. They were asking all those people in that area to get down on the ground, get out of the way. We drove away as quick as we could, and honestly, I knew they were calling for paramedics. I knew they were calling for help. I knew someone may have been injured, but we were just trying to get to safety, to get out of the way. It wasn't until just a few minutes later that we left that I realized just how serious that shooting was that we were right in the line of.
And of course, police were really trying to secure that scene. In fact, one of the officers was hollering at you and your photographer.
Yeah, they were. Officers were talking to all those people who were out there. They were trying to gather information, so they were in the middle of it. They came running with their guns drawn. They knew it was not safe for us to be in there, and they said you need to get out of here.
All right, thanks, Jamie Weiss, who was caught up by that gunfire at the 2:30 shooting here today. And when you come on the scene, you hear a lot of people screaming and some crying because relatives, friends have been lost in these shootings today. Connie Leonard, you got to talk to one of the victims' relatives.
Yeah, Scott, what's so sad about this whole situation is that 2 of these victims were young parents of the same child. A cousin came up to us telling us that the woman who was shot, that Jamie just told you about, was actually at the hospital with a relative who's pregnant. She heard that the father of her child had been shot and killed. She comes down here to see what's going on and gets in an argument with another woman who then shoots and kills her. And then police, of course, had to shoot that woman. Here's what the dead woman's family had to say about all this violence.
It needs to stop. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. There's too many black on black crimes are killing each other for no apparent reason. She's 22 years old, man. He's 22 years old, dude. I swear, man.
Too many young people are dying.
They took my cousin
Too many young people are dying. Y'all need to get out here. Y'all need to get jobs. Y'all need to take care of one another. Stop the gun.
Councilwoman Attica Scott lives right here, just 3 blocks down at Hale. And Attica, what a day it has been. I know you had to get your son picked up at Central High School when you heard this was going on. What are your thoughts on all this violence?
My thoughts are that our community needs to sit down with the mayor and the Chief Conrad, to look at some real strategies of how we stop this violence before it gets out of hand. Summer is almost upon us, and that's when people really get out of control, and our neighborhoods need bridge builders to bring us all together.
You said as a mom you were so worried about your kids, but you were able to go pick up your kids, and some mothers didn't have that.
I had the privilege of leaving my office and going to Central High School and picking up my son, but there are parents who had no idea what was going on. They're not privileged to be able to watch TV during the middle of the day when they're at work, or they don't have transportation to pick up their kids.
All right, Councilwoman, thank you for joining us. And Scott, she said she's going to watch the situation and make sure that police do follow through with keeping officers down here.
Boy, we're going to have more from Chief Conrad about that, because he really wants to do a lot of community policing, and this will be one he'll target on for sure. We know that one of those original shooting victims Williams, who was wounded, got in a car and drove away to 26th and Elliott. That's where we find our David Williams live tonight with more. David?
Scott, we talked to that man's mother. He's one of the survivors from the original shooting this afternoon. When we spoke to her, she was distraught. She was trying to collect her thoughts and really figure out what happened involving her son. She told me her son was shot in the thigh in that original shooting, drove himself over here to 26th and Elliott. Then she says her son was taken to the hospital. She says when we spoke to her, she said her son was in stable condition. When we were here earlier this afternoon, we saw a car that police believe the man was driving. There was a bullet hole in the back of that car, and that car was removed by LMPD this afternoon. The scene is clear right now, but this afternoon, here's what his mother had to say.
He's stable. He's okay. But the other two are not, and they're all in their mid-20s.
And again, the scene is clear. This afternoon. LMPD was investigating. Homicide was also on the scene, but there were plenty of people here looking this afternoon, but they are home. And the mother told me this afternoon, she said it just doesn't make any sense, and she is still trying to figure out what happened. Working for you live along 26th and Elliott, I'm David Williams, Wave 3 News. Scott, back to you.
All right. Thanks so much, David. One of the folks on the street here told me, we've got to remember, parents have lost a child. Relatives have lost a loved one. Some did survive, though. The wounded went to U of L Hospital. Let's go there to Liz Donatelli right now. Liz?
Scott, 3 victims that we know of right now, 2 men in the original shooting and 1 woman in the second shooting. We believe she was the woman who was shot by an LMPD officer. As of right now, it's pretty quiet except for this helicopter, of course, that's going off right there. Other than that, a few marked vehicles that are outside the emergency room. It is on lockdown, but that is just a precaution. No incidents as of right now. We want to repeat, no incidents. Again, lockdown is a precaution just in case some of the people involved in this do come back or there's some sort of altercation. Once again, 3 victims in the hospital that we know of right now. As you can see, the helicopter is lifting away, but we do not expect that this is involved in this incident at all. Scott, we're going to send it back your way.
All right, thanks, Liz Donatelli, live from U of L Hospital tonight. Imagine what the parents in this neighborhood were thinking. All these police cars, about 50 officers running around and gunshots going off, and they're waiting for their kids to come home. They can't get here. Eric Flack joins us with the plan that JCPS implemented to take care of those kids. Eric?
And it was a plan, Scott, that they actually have in place for any sort of emergencies, including what happened today. At its height, probably about 200 kids ended up here at Central High School. Those are kids who could not get home on the bus because their bus stop was in the area of the shooting. JCPS had to take those kids somewhere. They brought them here. As you can see, not a lot of activity behind me because just a couple minutes ago, they cleared the scene. All the kids who were brought here to Central High School that couldn't get home because of that shooting have now been picked up by parents or a loved one or a relative and taken to their home. So the good news, everything went smooth in this part of this plan here today. All the kids home safely. Reporting live from Central High School, Eric Flack, Wave 3 News.
All right, thanks, Eric. And when I came on the scene this afternoon, one of the first people I saw was the new police chief, Steve Conrad, and he was carrying a cooler full of water bottles with another officer to try to get it up here to all his investigators and detectives because they were going to be here for hours. And we suspect they might be here through the night because police aren't telling us yet if this is drug-related, why all these shootings have happened here in recent months, and the shootings particularly today with 3 fatalities. But you got to believe they're going to be careful to make sure that those closest to these shootings suspects, these shooting victims, and those who are in the hospital tonight don't get involved in any kind of tense conflict again here this evening. So we suspect officers, Janelle, will be here throughout the night taking care of the scene here near 32nd and Kentucky.
Yeah, hopefully cooler heads will prevail. Thanks, Scott. And Wave 3 is bringing you all the information you need to stay up to date on the story. Head to wave3.com. We're going to continue to update it as anything develops. Well, all new at 6 and only on Wave 3, major developments in the William Clyde Gibson serial murder investigation as crews take their search from New Albany to Bloomington.
Well, it's 76 degrees right now in Louisville. A warm day today, but it gets hot for the weekend. We'll check the forecast out for you when we come back. We're coming back in just 60 seconds.
Working for you. This is Wave 3 News at 6 with Scott Reynolds and Janelle McDonald. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harney and Kent Taylor, Sports.
The case against a suspected serial killer moves more than 100 miles away today. Wave 3 captured exclusive video as investigators were searching a wooded area in Bloomington, Indiana. Wave 3's Katie Bauer continues to follow this story. And Katie, as soon as people hear that they're searching in Bloomington, their minds will probably go to Lauren Spear. So what can you tell us?
Janelle, sources tell us this is not connected to the missing IU student. We were told earlier today William Clyde Gibson was out of jail with investigators for several hours in Bloomington. Take a look. This is exclusive video of New Albany police checking out a new location. It all happened on Airport Road, southwest of the Monroe County Airport. Around 11:30, several unmarked police cars and vans were at this site as investigators took a look around. After a couple hours, they left the scene, only to return around 3 to collect some soil samples. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office says that a tip led New Albany police to this wooded area in search of a female's remains. But the Sheriff's Office says it has nothing to do with any of their cases. Our cameras never captured Gibson at the scene. In the last couple weeks, New Albany police have been checking out several different areas. This is the first search that we are aware of that has been out of town. We are told nothing of significance has been found since they discovered 35-year-old Stephanie Kirk buried in Gibson's backyard on Woodburn Drive. He is already charged with the death of 2 women, 75-year-old Christine Whitus, who was found strangled in his home, and the 2002 murder of 46-year-old Karen Hodella. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office says the area is being prepped for a possible future dig, but no digging took place today. This case continues to unravel, and we will, of course, keep you updated. Working for you live in the newsroom, Katie Bauer, Wave 3 News.
All right, thank you, Katie. Well, have you ever called 911 once, maybe twice? How about more than 600 times in just 1 year? That's the problem Louisville's MetroSafe is dealing with, and they say it is wasting valuable resources that could cost us all the next time an emergency happens. It has been a crazy afternoon. Breaking news, 3 people dead, 3 people injured, and problems spreading out across the metro from this very, very violent afternoon. About 200 students had to be held at Central High School, and University Hospital's emergency room put on lockdown. It's been a crazy day for emergency responders, and they deal with a lot of stuff every day. In fact, pranksters, a pretty persistent problem for 911 operators. Here in Louisville, I'm told they create competition for open lines, they waste call takers' time, and they risk delaying real emergency response. Most are dealt with quickly, but MetroSafe says one is creating a problem. Tonight, we're looking into one caller who is considered the Metro's worst 911 abuser.
Does he need to go to the hospital because he's having trouble breathing?
Even during the busiest time of day, MetroSafe has only about 10 people.
We're going to have someone come and check you out.
Waiting to take emergency calls for all of Louisville.
We'll have sometimes 911 calls holding because so many people call on one instance.
Which is why MetroSafe spokeswoman Jody Johnson says when operators hear this voice on the line,
do you need any information from me first?
It's so frustrating.
Okay, what information would you like to give me?
I need to report an assault.
That voice on the other end belongs to Connie Marshall. If the name sounds familiar, it's because she was a 2010 candidate for Metro Mayor. She's also the most frequent caller to Louisville's 911.
Last year alone, I've got some statistics. She called 684 times.
Some days, Johnson says Marshall will call 10, 12, 14, up to 19 times in one day.
The duration of all of the calls together was about 29 hours.
And if that sounds excessive, it seems to be getting worse. These are all the calls that Marshall has made to 911 this year. 630 so far through the beginning of this month. And that's only from one number. MetroSafe now says Marshall is calling from a second phone number.
And in one day, actually last week, she called 27 times in one day.
This call, sources tell me, is pretty typical of her complaint.
And I am reporting an assault that's been going on all morning. And again, I do not want an ambulance at my home. I do not want a police officer at my home.
And she didn't need anything. She just wanted us to be recording information on the telephone.
As you listen to the call, it becomes pretty clear there's something else going on.
I am the lady that's being assaulted by directed energy weapons, and with the Louisville Metro Police Department are committing the crime.
But at MetroSafe, they're frustrated. Marshall is not the only person who calls 911 who doesn't need a response.
Sometimes we do have prank calls, and unfortunately adults do prank call as well, and they call and say, hey, there's a fire at this location.
But MetroSafe officials tell me Marshall is clearly the worst abuser. She's been calling for 3 years, and it's escalating, tying up the line for people who have more pressing emergencies.
I feel for the people. Yes, they should get through, but I should not be ignored when I'm being burned, when I'm being raped, when my heart's being attacked, when I'm being made to fall down in my home, when all those things are going on, then no, I should not be ignored.
I confronted Marshall about why she calls so frequently.
Matter of fact, it's well over 600 times. It could be close to 900 to 1,000. And that shows how many, you can look at it on the other side of the coin, that's how many assaults I have endured.
MetroSafe Director Doug Hamilton sent Marshall this notice late last month that she could face penalties if her calls continue. And if she doesn't need police, fire, or EMS, the operators will now hang up.
All right, bye-bye.
Now, Johnson says she is unclear if Marshall could actually face criminal charges for her calls to 911, and Hamilton says, frankly, jail space should be reserved for violent offenders. A spokesman for the county attorney's office says the office, which represents MetroSafe, has not been asked for an official opinion, but in general, someone would have to put individuals or property in danger to face charges for misuse of 911.
Working for you, this is your Wave 3 weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnan.
So she's putting us all in danger. Outside today, Mother Nature helping out with some clear skies across the area. With that sunshine here, we've seen a few storms pop up just off to our south. I'll pull the radar up so you can see those scattered storms, mainly across the Kentucky-Tennessee border. They're very spotty and scattered. They're not in our viewing area, well to the south of us and for us. Overnight tonight, throughout the evening and into the night, clear skies. Temperatures falling down into the 60s. A pretty good-looking evening. During the day tomorrow, looking good, too. Hey, it's bike to work day tomorrow, so grab the helmet, put on the shoes, and sit on the bike and ride to work. Looks good with plenty of sunshine expected once again for our Friday. Likewise, today at 76 degrees, so we've bumped up to see average high temperatures for this time of year. We actually reached the high of 77, and that's the average high for this time of the season. Average low met as well in the upper 50s. All in all, a normal day for us. A lot of 70s showing up around the region. 82 Bowling Green, 80 in Evansville. Under a clear sky, we've seen lots of sunshine today, clear skies tonight, plenty of sun tomorrow. Clouds will gradually increase as we move on into the weekend, though, and rain chances go up by early next week. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms back out to the west of us, but as far as we're concerned, mainly clear skies. During the day tomorrow, wouldn't be surprised to see a spotty shower chance off to our south, but most areas stay dry with high temperatures topping out in the mid-80s. Upper 80s to our south arrive here during the day on Saturday. Overnight tonight, 55 the overnight low. Clear skies tonight and tomorrow. We'll push that temperature up to 84 for a high on your Friday. Saturday, 88. Sunday, 90. It's a 10% storm chance through the weekend, 30, and then a 40% chance by Tuesday. Notice temperatures cool down with that rain chance going up early next week. Then we're right back in the low to mid 80s for Wednesday and Thursday. Bike to work day on Friday. The weather tour stops by the old Louisville Fest and the St. Matthew's Street Festival this weekend. We'll hope to see some folks out there. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, Kent Taylor has a look at sports.
Tomorrow, the U of L softball team opens NCAA tournament play with the best record of any team in the field. But as Kendrick Haskins tells us, they are not satisfied. They're looking for more.
And with that swing,
she does have a few, and that one is over the fence.
Jordan Trimble lived out the dream that anybody who has ever picked up a bat has had.
That's something that we all picture. Our coaches tell us to go home at night and picture that big hit.
That win, combined with a 53-3 record, landed the Cards a 15 seed in the NCAA tournament, home games for the regionals, and a possible third matchup this season with arch rival UK in the second round.
I know it's out there. I could play Michigan again. But I think right now we have to take care of the first game. I don't want to be, that team that's the #1 seed and gets knocked out by the 4 seed and goes into the loser's bracket.
Valpo's got a really strong offense, so we have to handle them first on Friday. But if we get a chance to play Kentucky, we've beaten them twice at both really close games, so we just really have to come out and make sure that we're ready to go against anyone.
For the U of L softball team, making it to the regionals is old hat. They've done it before. They've done it 4 years in a row. Now they have their sights set on a much bigger goal making it to the College World Series.
All year we've just wanted to win Big East. We got that done. We did that twice, and now we just want to make it to the World Series. That's our other big goal.
They've been here. Most of our team, except for my freshmen, obviously have been there, and they just have been wanting this more than anything in the world is to get out of this regional.
Kendrick Haskins, Wave 3 Sports.
Thank you, Kendrick. The Olympic opening ceremony in London is just 71 days away. Wave 3 and NBC will be your home for all the coverage. And today, the Olympic torch was handed over to London organizers that had traveled around ancient Greece, the birthplace of the games, now a 70-day, 8,000-mile trip around Great Britain. And would this guy affect your free throw shooting? That's his goal. He made it difficult for the Celtics' Kevin Garnett to concentrate in last night's game in Philadelphia. Goodness, I hope you've had your dinner. You will not be able to unsee that.
Thank you for sharing that, Ken.
Sure.
We really appreciate it.
That's what we do.
All right. Well, we still continue to follow that breaking news in the West End, the Parkland neighborhood. 3 people killed this afternoon, 3 more injured, and our crews are on the scene. They are gathering the very latest information. This has affected U of L Hospital. It's affected school kids on their way home from school. We've got much more information coming up for you on Wave 3 News at 7 and anytime on wave3.com. We'll see you then.